him all things hold together. And now we're going to just unpack that God is spirit and the incarnation, understanding how can Jesus be God and man. The questions that we want to answer are, how can God be spirit and yet Jesus had a physical body? Is that a contradiction? Is it a contradiction that we say that God is a spirit, right? And that God is not a physical body, he doesn't have parts. And yet we say that, and yet Jesus had a physical body. Is that a contradiction? Let's see. So when we say God is spirit, God is not made of matter. He is invisible and he is eternal. He is not limited by space or time. John 24 says God is spirit. The incarnation, the word became flesh, John 1:14. And we say the incarnation, that's when God took on a human body and he became a man. So that's God becoming near to his creation. And the nearest way he could come to his creation is to become a man like his creation. And so that's what we mean by incarnation. God coming near. God coming near to his creation. And he came near to his creation by taking on a physical human body. Okay? He was born. He was born as a baby, like all men and women are born that have ever lived, apart from Adam and Eve. Everyone else had to be born. Okay, so the word became flesh, John 1:14. God entered creation. He came near to his creation. He took on a real human nature. That's the only way he could come near. The realest, closest way he can come near to his creation is to become a man, take on a human body. So when we say that God became a man, it's not a loss, but it's an addition. So God did not stop being God. The immortal, invisible, eternal God did not stop being God. Jesus just added humanity. He's still fully God and he's fully man. So again, Jesus, when he became a man, he did not stop being God. He just added humanity while he was still God. Okay? It's not a loss, but it's an addition. So two natures in one person. So you have the divine nature, God, and then you have the human nature, man. This is all in Jesus. And this is called the hypostatic union. He was fully God and fully man, 100% God and 100% man. The hypostatic union means Jesus is one person with two natures. He's one person with two natures. He has a divine nature, a God nature, and he has a human nature. Why this matters? It reveals God clearly to us, and it makes salvation possible, and it shows God is both above us and he is near us. The fact that Jesus, became a man, one person in two natures, fully God, fully man, 100% God, 100% man. And just to help you with this, I just want to share some illustrations. Not all of these are original to me, but these are some illustrations to help you think this through. So when you have an author who writes himself into his own story, right? When he writes himself into his own story, the author still remains the author, but the author truly enters the story, but yet he's still the author of that story. So as the author, he is above that story, but he can write himself in that story at the same time. Okay? So that's one way you can think of it. And so with the author illustration continued, so imagine an author is writing a story. The author is not part of the paper or the ink. They are transcendent to the story. They are above the story. However, the author can choose to write themselves into the story as a character. And when the author becomes a character, they are limited by the plot, which you can think of as human flesh. Jesus taking on human flesh. But they are still the author holding the pen, holding all power over the narrative. So God, who would be the one that would have, all of the power over the narrative. So it's like God, he would still have all that power over the narrative. And if he wrote himself into the story, then that would be like Jesus becoming a man. Okay, there's an author who's writing a story. That author who's writing a story, you can say that's God. And then God, as he's writing this story, he can also write himself as a character within that story. And then that would be Jesus, God taking on flesh or taking on a human body. So that's just one illustration to think about how Jesus can be God who's fully man and fully God and fully man. And now there's another illustration of putting on clothes. So an illustration by Athanasius, who was that AI generated black man in the beginning. So this was Athanasius' illustration. I want to give credit where credit's due. So Athanasius, he compared the incarnation of Jesus to a person putting on a garment. The person God does not become the garment. when he puts on his flesh. You know what I'm saying? Um, but they inhabit it. They're wearing it to be seen and known. So God, when he puts on the garment and takes on a body, he's inhabiting that and he's wearing it so he can be seen by his creation. So he takes on a human body because he's invisible. God is invisible. And when God takes on a human body, now he can be seen by his creation. So again, the person God does not become the garment, the flesh, but he inhabits it, wearing it to be seen and known. God is spirit. Jesus adds a body or puts on clothes. His God nature is 100% God. Jesus also has a human nature and he's 100% man. His God nature does not stop being God. Consider a doctor wears a white lab coat on his job. And when that doctor takes off his white lab coat and puts on his gym shorts and his basketball shoes to hoop in, that doctor does not lose the fact that he is a doctor because he is hooping. He's playing basketball. He doesn't lose the fact that he's a doctor. No, he's still a doctor. But in this moment, he's playing basketball. He's a doctor who plays basketball. And Jesus does not lose the fact that he is God because he added the lab coat of a man. No, God is all powerful and he can do that if he wants to. God is not limited. No, God is limitless. You cannot put a limit on what God can do. God is all powerful. So some people make a mistake and they say that God, he can't become a man. And if he becomes a man, he can no longer be God. They say that if God were to take on a human body, that would be a subtraction from his divinity. But that's not true. Because if God is all powerful, which one of the characters and the qualities of God is that he is all powerful. And so he's omnipotent. It's because he's all powerful, he can do whatever he wants. So God being God, he can add on a human body if he wants to, if he chooses to. He can add that if he wants to. And that does not subtract, that does not diminish from him being God. He's all powerful. And so an all powerful being has all power to do whatever he wants. So don't make the mistake by saying, if God does this, he can no longer be God. Because then you're limiting what God can do. And that goes against the character that God is all powerful. So I just wanted to clear that up for anyone that kind of is questioning it. Another illustration is called the glove in the hand. So the glove in the hand, the most widely cited illustration is this illustration. It's often attributed to Christian writers is the glove in the hand. A glove, a human body, cannot do anything on its own. However, when a hand, the divine spirit, fills it, the glove can act, move, and work. The hand remains the distinct active power inside, yet the glove interacts with the material world. Similarly, Jesus is the body, the glove, filled with the fullness of God, the hand. So this is an easy illustration. If you have a glove that's like a human body, right? And you can't do anything. The glove cannot do anything on its own. But when you put a hand inside that glove can move. It becomes lifelike. And so that hand is like the spirit of God. So when the spirit of God is in that glove is active. It can move. It can do things. When you have a glove that has no hand in it, it's just a body, and that body has no life. It's like a corpse, if you will. It's a dead. It doesn't have life in it. So a glove with no life in it cannot do anything. But when you take a glove, when you take a body and you put the life, the God who's full of life, right? When you put the God of life, the author of life into that glove, it becomes living. It can move, it can act, it can do, it can touch, it can pick up. So that's probably the number one illustration that people think of is a glove that's empty and a hand. A glove can do nothing without a hand inside of it. And so a body or an empty corpse without life in it is nothing. And the God of all life, he can enter a glove whenever he wants, and he can give that glove life. And in the same way, Jesus, he decided that he was going to put on a glove of a human body. And when he put on the glove of a human body, that human body came to life. And then you could now He could now reveal himself to his creation in a visible way, and he could come nearer than any other way that he could come near was to take on a human body, and he could live amongst his people, and he could experience the pain and the suffering that his people experience. He can identify them. He can identify with them in a way that would have never been possible if he was a God who was above and not a part of his creation. So Jesus, by taking on a human body, he became not only above his creation, but he became near his creation, near enough for us to see him weep when Lazarus died, near enough for us to see him suffer as his body hung on the cross, near enough for us to see him tell his mother, Mother's Day just passed the other day, when he was dying on a cross, he would make sure that his mother was provided for by telling John that his mother is now John's mother, and John is now Mary's son, and John needs to look after his mother. And so by Jesus taking on a human body, he's able to come near to his creation in a way where he is not above and distant, but he is above his creation, but he's also near his creation. And that shows his tender compassion and mercy towards us. So these are questions that I thought of to further illustrate the point. I don't know if they're always the best questions, but just I think you can get the picture. So I said, does the president stop being the president while he's on vacation? He's still the president, even if he's on vacation. I know these might not be a great illustration, but for me, I'm just thinking of, is a father no longer a father when his son is not around? No, he's always a father. If he fathered a son, if he fathered a child, he's always a father. Is a firefighter not a firefighter because they have on street clothes? No, they would still be a firefighter. And does God stop being God when he adds becoming a man? The answer to all those questions are no. One more time. Does the president stop being a president while on vacation? Is a father no longer a father when his son is not around? Is a firefighter not a firefighter because they have on street clothes? And does God stop being God when he adds becoming a man? Does God stop being God when he puts on the glove and gives that glove life through his spirit? God is spirit, meaning he is beyond us. But in Jesus, he came near to us. This is not a contradiction, but a revelation. God came to reveal himself to us. He did not want to be hidden from his creation. And so how does he not be hidden from his creation? He reveals himself to his creation. And he reveals himself to his creation in a way in which his creation can understand, can see, can touch, can feel, by taking on a human body. When Jesus takes on a human body, when Jesus becomes a man, he is now visible. He is extremely visible when he takes on a human body. He was born as a baby. He could literally, you could touch him. You know what I mean? You could ask him a question. You could listen to him teach about the way to God. You could see him feed the 5,000. You could see him perform miracles, turning water into wine, healing the sick and the lame. You could see Jesus casting out demons, alleviate suffering, heal people that were sick. You could see Jesus raise the dead. He did not want to be hidden from his creation. And the way that he had to do it was he had to become a man. When Jesus is born and he becomes a man, he draws near to his creation, showing that he is compassionate, showing that he's coming near, and he's no longer hidden. He's not hiding himself. He's not playing hide and go seek with his creation. When Jesus takes on a body, he is doing that in a way which is loving to reveal himself to his creation. Jesus becoming a man is not a contradiction. It's a revelation. He wants you to know him. He does not want to be hidden from you. And so many people are searching for this God. If they only knew that this God came near to you so that you would not have to search. All you would have to do is look to the cross and trust in the one who came to save you by dying on the cross for you. This is our God. This is how compassionate he is, that he would leave the glories of heaven temporarily, but still he would leave it, and he would take on a human body and he would suffer. He would know what it's like to go hungry, to mourn when you lose someone, to give up his body in a painful way, to die violently at the hands of sinful men. and at the hands of an unjust state government. He did that to draw near to us. And him taking on a human body is such a grace, and it's such a wonderful mystery to behold. It in no way diminishes his divinity at all. Jesus took on, added, he added a body. That in no way diminished his divinity. He was 100% God, and he was also 100% man. It's not a contradiction. It's a revelation. God is beyond us, but in Jesus, he came near to us. God came near to us in Jesus. Praise God. The power of God. When we look at the power of God, which is another attribute of God, we see God is omnipresent. He's present everywhere at the same time. He's omniscient. He is all knowing. He's omnipotent. He's all powerful. I just touched on the fact that he's all powerful, meaning he can do whatever he wants, and you can't put limitations on what power he is allowed to do. It says he is all powerful. That means his power is beyond limit. It doesn't have limits. It's unlimited. I don't know if you ever played a video game, you would put a cheat code in for like unlimited lives or unlimited health. You were in essence all powerful. You were invincible. It's like when you turn Sonic into Supersonic, and now he's all powerful. He can run through anything, not have to lose any rings or anything like that. If he touches something, it would be destroyed. When Mario becomes Super Mario, now he's invincible. He's all powerful. We know what it's like to play that in a video game, but I'm telling you that the God of eternity, he became a man. He became a man because he's full of all power. He can do what he wants to do. If he wants to add a human body, he can do that. And you cannot tell God what he cannot do because he is all powerful. And so we have to wrestle with the fact that if he's all powerful, he is all powerful. He gets to dictate what he decides to do. And if he wants to add a body, he can add a body. You cannot limit his power.